Hello everyone! In this week's video, I'm reviewing these Arteza Woodless Watercolor pencils and the Arteza Water Brush pens. So let's get started! Arteza did send me these to review. They actually sent me these with the markers I reviewed a few weeks ago, but I decided to split the products into two videos since it would be a lot to cover in one video. So anyways, about the products, first is the Woodless Watercolor pencils. You get 24 unique colors, and unlike normal pencils, they are not encased in wood, but you can still sharpen them in any pencil sharpener. They are coated in lacquer to prevent rubbing, which is nice. Before I knew this, I kept being scared I'd get the pigment all over my hands. And then I read that they were covered in lacquer, so I don't have to worry about that. Next are the water brushes. You get 6 in total. 3 have a brush tip in small, medium, and large, and the other 3 are a flat tip. They also come in small, medium, and large. You fill the brushes with water, and then when you squeeze the brush, water will come out of it. Here I am swatching the colors. I make one row for when they are dry and another row for when water is added to them. The colors you get are white, yellow, chrome yellow, yellow green, flesh pink, tawny, vermilion, brick red, red, peach, carmine, violet, purple, ultramarine, blue, light blue, green, light green, brown, tea, dark gray, orange, magenta, and black. So they give a nice variety of colors to do shading with, which is really nice. You can color with just the pencil, or you can color and then add water to the coloring. You can color on top of water that is put on the paper, or you can dip the pencil into water and then color with the pencil. So the picture I'm working on is a picture of Petra. She is a character from Minecraft Story Mode. Minecraft Story Mode 2 just recently came out, so I was kind of in a Minecraft Story mood, so I wanted to draw Petra because Petra's cool and I like her character. I also like Lucas and Ivor. I really like the Minecraft Story Mode games. They're really fun, and I just got to play Minecraft Story Mode 2, so I'm really excited about that. But here I am starting to color her. I decided to color less important things first. Usually I start coloring things like the face first, but I decided to start with her clothes just to get me used to using the pencils. Now I'm gonna be totally honest, watercolor pencils have never been my most favorite thing to use. I got a set of them when I was like 14, and I used them like twice, and then I never used them again. So they have never been one of my favorite things to use, and I've never really liked using them. But these work very nicely, and I actually did quite enjoy using them. When I first started on the shirt, I didn't really like how it was going, and I think the problem is I was doing too much smearing. I was almost smearing the color and dragging the pigment with my brush. But instead, I should have just kind of dabbed the water on to activate the pigment, but not do so much sliding. I almost slid the pigment around too much, and it made the shirt kind of blotchy. So I learned my lesson from the shirt, and the coloring on the vest turned out a lot better. I was able to kind of save the shirt. I feel like the shirt turned out pretty okay in the end, but I do feel like it's still a little like splotchy in some areas, just because I kind of didn't know what I was doing. But the colors are very pigmented, and when you sharpen them, they do come to a very nice point. Like I said, I didn't really like using them at first, but as I kept working on the picture, I really enjoyed using them. As I kept getting more used to them and learning more about how they work, I started to actually really like them. So here, like with the vest, instead of doing a lot of dragging of the color, I just kind of dabbed the water on and just kind of let the pigment activate with the water. But I didn't really slide my brush around a whole bunch, and this helped it be a lot less streaky, and it worked a lot better. So I wish I would have known that when I was coloring the shirt. The water brush pens also work very nicely. The water comes out of them really well. If you squeeze them, the water comes out smoothly. If you press really hard on the brush, the a lot of water will come out, which I like because I often use the water squirting out feature to clean the brush. And I often have a cup of water just sitting next to me, and I kind of use them like normal brushes, but I squeeze the brush to help clean the brush because it's a really effective way to clean the brush. One thing I really like about these brushes is that they hold a lot of water. I have other water brushes and I often run out of water really fast because I am using a lot of water, but these hold a ton of water because they're really long. So I really like how much water they hold. So that's a good feature about them, and they perform very nicely. So Petra's sleeve is actually black, but since the coloring on the vest was so dark and the vest is overlapping with her arm, so I didn't want the arm and the vest to kind of become one, so I decided to make her glove and her sleeve a more gray color. So that's what I did for that. Here I am coloring the skin. The skin I think turned out nicely. I did end up using a lot of colored pencil for the skin just because they don't give a lot of shading tones for the skin. So I did use a lot of color pencil on the skin. I tried to do as much shading as I could with the watercolor pencils, and then I go back in later with some color pencil. Right around here is when I start really liking the watercolor pencil, is when I figure out that I can dip the watercolor pencil into water, and that's when I started really liking them. When you dip the watercolor pencil into water, the pigment becomes like, it's hard to describe, it becomes like watercolor, and then when you put it on the paper it looks like watercolor, but it's really easy to control, and I'm able to color really tiny areas. And also add shading. I used, I don't know what to call it, I used the wet pencil technique a lot to add shading to the picture because it worked very nicely for adding shading and small details to the picture. So I really like being able to dip the pencil into water, and then I would use my brush and then blend the pigment out. So I really liked using them like that. Here I'm coloring the diamond. I have her holding a pickaxe in her left hand, and she's also throwing a diamond up. At first I just had her throwing the diamond up and I just had her hand kind of on her hip, but then I noticed that I could add kind of the pickaxe, so I had her holding a pickaxe. So like I said, I started playing part 2 of Minecraft Story Mode. I'm not going to give any spoilers just in case people play it, but I'm really enjoying it and I can't wait for episode 2. I had a lot of fun coloring Petra. I had a lot of fun coloring the diamond. For the highlights on the diamond, I use my white, my Signo gel pen, and I'm using Staedtler color pencils to add a little bit more shading. When I work with color pencils, I often, when I work with watercolor, I often use color pencils to add more detailed shading, or just more shading in certain areas, because I often have a hard time shading with watercolors. So I'm just adding more shading with color pencils. So the Arteza Woodless Watercolor pencils are currently on sale for $20. I think this is a really good deal, and I feel like they are worth $20. I really enjoyed using them, and they kind of won me over on using watercolor pencils. Like I said, I didn't really like them before, but I actually do quite like them now, and I think I will be using them again, especially with my watercolor pictures. So if you're looking for watercolor pencils, I highly recommend these. They give a good assortment of colors, and the pigments are very pigmented. The colors are really bright, and they are very nice to work with. And the water brushes are also on sale. They are $8.98. I think this is an amazing deal for these brushes. I would highly recommend getting these if you want water brushes because they work really nice. So that is a really good deal for these brushes. So if you want water brushes, I recommend these, and I think they work really nicely. Also, there is a promo code LearnToDrawManga10, and if you use it on the Arteza website, you will get 10% off your entire order. So you even get a better deal. So here's the finished picture of Petra from Minecraft Story Mode. I am really happy with how this picture turned out. I feel like I captured her personality. At least I hope I did. I was really nervous before coloring this picture just because I've never used watercolor pencils very much. But I'm actually very happy with how the coloring turned out and how the watercolor pencils performed. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next week in my next video. Bye!